Hey, it's Ember. I wanted to share this time about the idea of how we react to, you know, deep wounds and traumatic situations. And I was having a conversation with someone who it seemed so synchronistic when we were talking, in the sense that they would say, "This is how I reacted to the trauma," and I would say, "It's so interesting. I almost had the same feelings, but with the opposite reaction." And I think that so many of us have had trouble now or in the past truly loving and accepting ourselves. And I believe that part of that comes from this wounding process as we're tumbled through a reality that our primate, beings, primate forms, genetically tuned anthropoid ape forms, were not meant for. And so we are naturally wounded in a cultural process that doesn't allow for the right satiation of love and connection and vulnerability, authenticity of self, placing that authentic self within a community. And so we have these ways we react to the pain. And I think that one thing that's been important in my quest was this feeling that, because it had to do with my gender identity and sort of the deepest core precious part of myself, it almost tended me or forced me to become extra vulnerable, because I knew in my heart what was inside me. I knew in my soul that it was coming from this vulnerable, honest place that was crying out to be seen. And so when it was met with the adversities that I went through in coming out, and in coming out to myself, even expressing these sides of me on the outside at the time, the collision there between the closed off, door shut version of connection that I was receiving from my support network around this opposed my need to shine brighter and be more vulnerable and dig deeper into what I could hear was a distant call of like truth and honesty and just a beautiful light shining within me. Another way to couch this is, many of us have trouble loving ourselves, and when you put your ear down to that cave that we call our heart and soul and our notion of self, it's possible that many of us don't hear that call. And for me, I am so grateful that I heard a distant call even early into my teenage years, mid-teenage years, beginning to hear some distant call of like, hey, there's some incongruency here. There's something happening, and there's times where I feel like I'm above the water, taking breaths of fresh air. And there's times where I forget all about that, and I forget where I've left myself, hiding somewhere underneath some blanket, trying to keep safe. And for some of us, safety is building concrete around our hearts. And that's not something that we should be ashamed about. We've been hurt. There's another path, though, to use each of these circumstances as a curriculum. It's your soul's journey of individuation, asking you to make a choice to dive deeper into surrender, vulnerability, knowledge of self, which is a delicate process, which is a process that requires you to tune in deeply to yourself and essentially find the love for yourself that you may have never had, to hear the distant call and to have it beckon to you in a way that you are unyielding in your pursuit to find it and to make it louder and to shine it brighter. And for me, I've always known that there's something inside me that has said there's something beautiful inside me. And I know that in my estimation, spiritually, we have one chance in this particular form. And I know that I have so much love to give, both to myself and others. And in the states I was in before, I was straitjacketed into a self that tried to shoot the love out and had it be funneled down hallways that would inevitably, diminish the power that I had inside me. And I couldn't see it because no one could see it around me or was even, allowing to see it, type of thing. And so when these wounds happen to us, if we can have the strength through ourselves or those loved ones around us to take it as an opportunity to sit with the wound, sit with the pain in a way that lets our heart break again and again and again. And that way we don't need to make ourselves coarse to reality, that we don't need to put concrete around our heart in a way that's going to be so much harder to excavate in the future every day that we continue that walled off process. And so this process has been difficult. Transition is difficult, but it's also amazing and magical. And I think that it's difficult for me because I'm coming from a system of support networks that were based on fear and control and manipulation and walled off hearts and lack of vulnerability. And it's been particularly tough for me to make this jump, but I think that the process of whether it's transitioning or in your own quest, tuning into yourself in a way that's deep and honest and vulnerable and saying, I know there are many paths in front of me, and some of those paths lead to certain destruction, and some of those paths lead to the highest symbiosis of your soul with the organism environment and the social environment around you. And so strive towards authenticity, surrender to vulnerability, and learn to love yourself and your life through a process that's already unfolding. You just got to pay attention. There's lessons going on all around you, and if you pay attention, you'll start to see little spiritual nuggets like little M&Ms left for you on the path. And then you're in this game of an original version of faith. Faith in the sense that you trust that this cosmic unfolding is related to some sort of, for example, evolution of consciousness, where the expansion and connection of heart and soul amongst the decentralized decentralized nodes of humanity is the whole object of the game. I mean, at our level, and then for every type of information processor and consciousness beyond us and below us. And so I say that the version of faith is what I call the heart path, knowing that it's almost like a contract with the cosmos, that if I dig deeper and surrender to vulnerability and allow myself to learn from the processes that are unfolding around me, I know I will find or manifest the reality that is best resonant with my heart and soul. I'm Ember, thanks for being here with me, and I got more coming at you here soon. Just, I'm doing it at a pace that feels right and honest and genuine, and I hope that you can help share in that.